Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over some interesting movements in the market and just talking about what I think are good buys in terms of sealed product right now, because honestly I think there's a lot of opportunity when a lot of people are dumping, and we'll see that when we get later. But first we're going to talk about the market manipulations that's happening with Paldea Evolved ETBs. Now I've shouted this out many times, the promo inside this box is really solid, but it has seen a huge price jump from 112 all the way to 140. Looks like people bought 370, maybe it was like a group or a single individual. But this has been steadily climbing for a while. Yes, it probably will dip back down a little bit, but I really don't see it, retracing a ton and going back to, like, I don't know, August or September prices, right? And honestly, I don't see us getting more reprints of this. There's only 3 pages of listings left. So when it reaches, it could very well reach 200 within a few buys here. 2 pages and then we're basically at 190. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I would be, keeping an eye on this product. What's interesting though is that usually spikes in the ETB are followed by spikes with a PC ETB. I have noted that, in the past, and it has kind of come true. You can see, August to September, it grew a ton, the PC ETB. Let's check, August to September, the ETB also grew a lot. They tend to be somewhat correlated. Looks like the buyout was, again, you could tell it's market manipulation because it was very targeted onto this product. And we didn't really see a big increase in terms of price for the PC ETB. Now, that being said, there is a lot less of the PC ETB, but and it's also very expensive, right? But if I were a gambling man, I might buy a PC ETB because I'm anticipating that it will kind of start following the price of the regular one as time goes on. Plus, this is a very scarce product. It's going to be harder and harder to find just out and about in 5 years. Imagine that. These are going to be basically near impossible to find. Moving on to other products that I think might be worth considering, the Obsidian Flames ETB, I think, is actually primed to be market manipulated as well. There's definitely a possibility that the same group that went after this product goes after this. You have the best Charmander card in the hobby, okay? Don't even debate me about this. The Obsidian Flames promo has literally the best Charmander card we've gotten, ever. That could very well change, but genuinely, this is one of the best promos. It's only $30. It comes free in this ETB with 9 Obsidian Flames packs, so of course it's going to be absolutely fire. It's around 150 right now, so it's already kind of expensive. I think that Charmander promo is doing a lot of heavy lifting, plus it's not getting printed anymore, but I think we could easily see this get more expensive as time goes on. And as you can see, just the first page bumps up to 160, and we only have 2 pages until it reaches 200, so that could be interesting to see. Paldea Evolved booster boxes have been seeing a bit of a dip though, contrary to their ETB counterparts. And I think this might not be a bad idea to get in at 475. If you were like, man, this is too much for me, well, you now have a pretty nice discount, almost a 19%, 20% drop, which is pretty nice to see. If you can find it locally, you might be able to get it for like 370. That would be pretty nice. You could even go to a card show and try and get a bit of a discount. I do think these are a decent price considering where the case is. I believe the case is like, what, 2.5-ish? Looks like people are buying for around 2.6, 2.5. 2,600 divided by 6 is going to be 433. So I think buying a Paldea Evolved booster box for 370 is kind of a no-brainer right now. That would be a good play if you have no Paldea Evolved booster boxes. Might consider picking one up right now. Why not? We also have Paldean Fates has been dropping, although it is so obscenely expensive. This ETB is insanely expensive. I mean, I get that Paldean Fates is one of the best sets of the era, but yeah, it's a specialty set, so this is the best product. But like, wow, $200, $300 for just this. It reached 300. It's dipped down to 230, so it's come down $70, which seems like it would be an absolute amazing deal, but again, at 230, that is really expensive. We have no idea if we're going to get reprints of this ETB into the coming holiday season. We know we're getting a Paldean Fates premium collection. I think it's the Iron Treads one. I think it's a premium collection. So, that'll be interesting to see it affect the pack price. I just don't know if it's going to affect the ETB that much. I think people might be kind of, getting a little too trigger happy in terms of selling. I think buying some of these might not be a bad idea. And, taking a look at the PC ETB as well, as we do with Paldea Evolved, it's come down from a $500 high to $400, $100 discount. Honestly, I would be picking this up if I don't have any Paldean Fates PC ETBs. I think now is a good time. It rose so much. If you didn't have a chance to get it, and you're kind of like, well, I want this PC ETB before it gets insanely hard to find, like the 151 PC ETB, which was near $1,000. It's come down a bit. But I see the same trajectory for this PC ETB. Mimikyu is a very popular Pokemon. Paldean Fates is one of the best sets of the era. This is the best product because it's a specialty set. I don't know. I think I would get into this at some point, but I understand, people are very wary about overpaying for these. So it is what it is. That's up to you. Moving on to more fundamentals, we have booster boxes. The Temporal Forces booster box, sorry for the voice crack, has been kind of defying odds, right? It just keeps going up. It actually hasn't seen too much of a dip. I'm not entirely sure why that is. It's been very, very steady, but I've always been of the opinion that Temporal Forces is one of the best sets of the era and that not many people have really caught on to. I think that Ghastly illustration rare has a low gem rate, and that could actually carry the set. The Mega Gengar card is good in Mega Dream, but I actually think that Ghastly that contains Haunter, and Gengar all in the same card plus Ghastly, it's kind of a no-brainer pick. I recently sent one in for grading, so hopefully when I do the PSA return video, we'll get a chance to look at that and see if I got the 10. But yeah, I think Temporal Forces is a great set. I personally have a case. I have a few boxes. I'm not going to sell. I'm holding on, but I think you need to get in sooner rather than later. We have no idea if we're going to get reprints of this box. It doesn't really seem to be getting any cheaper, so we'll see if people start dumping it. But it looks pretty stable right now, which is cool to see. Moving on to Twilight, this had a huge run up and then a huge kind of crash. I always knew that Twilight was it was getting a little overhyped with the way it was going. Even, when it was going up to 280, I was like, wow, it was unexpected for me. But at the same time, the Greninja and the Eevee, they are strong cards, so I get it. Then it jumped all the way to 320, and I'm like, okay, this is insane. And I saw like some people selling cases for much less than this box price, and I immediately snatched it up because I was like, okay, I need to buy a case of this before it gets out of my hands. Now that the box price has come down, my case is looking, it's looking like an average play. I didn't really make much money off of that play, but I'm still up, thankfully. And yeah, the booster box price at 270s, I think a good pickup. We have no idea how many more reprints of this booster box we're going to get. It looks like they're focusing on Surging Sparks more than anything, which is above Twilight Masquerade in terms of when they released it, right, or ahead. So I can't really see them going back in time to really print Twilight because it got a lot of supply when it first came out. Twilight was pretty easily available. Surging Sparks is kind of when stuff really started getting hard to get, so I understand why they started with Surging. And we could even see them just ignore Twilight altogether. And speaking of Surging, I think this is a great time to buy. We have never had this much supply on the market, and the hobby is kind of cooling down a bit, but despite all of that, despite the massive amounts of supply that are being dropped onto the hobby, despite the kind of decreased demand, Surging Sparks is still holding above 220. And you might say, only 220? All the other boost boxes are doing amazingly. I think this is a really good sign for Surging. If Stellar Crown had gotten the Surging treatment, it would be a $180 to $160 boss. We might have seen MSRP for Stellar Crown if it got the amount of reprints that Surging is getting right now. So I do generally think now is a good time to pick up Surging Sparks. Mark my words, this thing is going to rebound back up. There is a ton of pages of listings. Would really recommend looking locally. You can probably get it for 200. And I'm going to be looking for deals on Surging this next coming weekend. I'm going to a card show, so hopefully I can find some Surging. We'll see what happens. Next, let's talk about Destined. This seen a bit of like a stagnation period. It dipped from its big all-time high, the big manipulation everyone was yapping about. And it's come down to 370, was at 450 high. I am still holding off on this, if I'm being completely honest, because I've seen what they did to Surging, and I anticipate something similar for Destined. So as good as of a set as Destined is, and we could even see another run-up sometime soon if Pokemon doesn't really get onto the Destined wave, I'm kind of holding off right now. I'm going to wait for a better time to pick up more boxes, but don't get me wrong, I do want to pick up more boxes if possible. I sold a lot of boxes because I bought some of them for MSRP. I bought some of them for like $200, and I saw a good opportunity and I sold. I didn't even sell near the top. I sold it like for $350. I thought that was a good deal. But it is what it is. I held onto my case, thankfully, and so I'll probably buy into a few loose boxes if I can in the future, but we'll see what happens. Moving on to Mega Evolution, the second wave hit, and it's been seeing a pretty big price drop. I think we kind of all expected this, right? The initial first price drop, it kind of ran up a bit to 300, and now the second wave hit, and it's all the way down to 250, which is almost the same as you know, the release drop. So I don't know how much farther this Mega, you know, Evolution set is going to go. It's a very strong set. The Mega Gardevoir SAR, the gold cards, the Lucario SAR, the Venusaur SAR. I think it's a very solid, you know, set in general. So at 250, I think that's actually a good floor to pick some of these boxes up. The set value is like what, over 3K right now, which is insane. You know, 1,000 more than Phantasmal Flames, which, speaking of, we still haven't seen the second wave of reprints here. So we could see a run up for Phantasmal like we did with Mega, right? As you see, it kind of ran up because we didn't get the wave, and then once the second wave hit, it dropped back down. You could buy it 300. Personally, I'm going to wait for the second wave. I don't have any booster boxes of Phantasmal. Haven't been able to get any. It is what it is. I've ripped some. It was fun. Didn't get anything. But yeah, Phantasmal is something that I'm not really too, like, I don't feel super eager to get into it. I made that video on why it might crash. I'm kind of anticipating we see a big crash on the second wave, but we'll just have to see. I think like Charizard heavy sets tend to do pretty poorly in the short to medium term. They usually do well long term. Like, don't get me wrong, the 3 to 5 year window, I think it'll do amazingly. But yeah, in the short to medium term, I've seen what Obsidian Flames did. I've seen what Burning Shadows has done. I'm just not super enthused to drop $300 for a Phantasmal booster box. Moving on to stuff that I actually do really want to buy. Lost Origin has seen a huge price decrease, 800 down to 730. That's a lot of value lost. In fact, even higher if you consider like 820 down to 720, so around $100 lost. If you can find this for $600 to $700 locally, I think it's a great buy right now. Lost Origin has seen a huge price jump, but if you see my prediction videos, I was saying that I think Lost Origin is going to be a $1,000 box by 2026, and I could definitely see that happening. I don't know if it's going to be by 2026, but I think eventually Lost Origin will be a very, very sought after set. That Giratina, still one of the most expensive alt arts. I think it's an amazing buy at $600. If you have the capital, 600 to 700, I think is a great buy for Lost Origin. More great buys, you know, Crown Zenith ETBs have also seen a bit of a drop. We're entering the stagnation period. Not too big. It's like a $20 dip. Really nothing crazy. But again, if you're finding people on Facebook Marketplace that are like, they want to get out of their sealed position, they want to sell their Crown Zenith ETBs for like 80% value, man, you got to jump on that. I'm more just, you know, I think there's buying opportunities right now. I think a lot of people are kind of selling off their collections, and now might not be a bad time to pick them up. Brilliant Stars booster boxes, I've talked about this so much. The Brilliant Stars Charizard is a very expensive chase card. For the price of this booster box, that Charizard card is extremely expensive. Plus you have Umbreon, like Sylveon, Mimikyu, insane Trainer Gallery, one of the most stacked sets. When this set came out, people loved it. People loved Brilliant Stars. They loved ripping it. They loved opening it. But for some reason, I don't know, the vibes changed or something. Brilliant Stars has not really taken off like the other sets. Not entirely sure why that happened, but it is what it is. Right now it's at 417. It's at its, you know, kind of, you know, price that, you know, was in July. So you already know that it can get up to the 550s. I think now is a good time to buy, better than ever. But that's going to be the video. Let me know what you guys are picking up this week. Got any plans for card shows and whatnot? But yeah, that's going to be the video. Comment down below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.